Solana protocol is all about facilitating the creation of decentralized apps. Their buzzwords is all about combining proof of history and proof of stake. Now, if you know what that means, great, because I don't. What I do know is how to analyze their charts, so let's get to that. Like most of the pairs in the crypto market, the uptrend of Solana started in January of this year. The initial impulse of this structure achieved a massive 6,000% growth in price and took it all the way from $1 to $60 in about 5 months. Right after hitting the $60 price point at the daily chart, it started its first correction. Now this correction formed a 3-wave corrective flat before it continued its uptrend. The most important thing about this correction is that its second wave, or wave B over here, contains 3 smaller waves inside of it. Keep this info on the side because we will need it later on when we analyze the second correction. Now when wave C of the correction got complete, Solana started forming its second impulse of the bigger structure. And this time it broke the previous all-time high and rose all the way in price towards the $216 on the 9th of September. Since then, the structure went to form its second corrective pattern. As of this point, this correction is facing 2 scenarios. The first scenario suggests that this correction is almost complete and it has already formed its 3 corrective waves, similar to the initial scenario that we had in the first correction, which means that it may resume its uptrend soon. But as I told you earlier, the second wave of the first correction is containing 3 smaller waves inside of it. And this leads us to the second scenario that we might be facing here in this corrective pattern. Now before we continue further, if you're enjoying this video and you like my content, please make sure to subscribe and smash the like button and share it if you think it's worth sharing. Now let's go back to the charts. If this corrective pattern decides to copy what happened in the first corrective pattern, then the correction is most likely not yet complete. In other words, this second wave over here will form 3 smaller waves inside of it, similar to what happened in the first correction. And these 3 smaller waves will look like this. And as soon as the second wave is complete, we'll drop down one last time to form the third wave of the correction, and then we will continue our uptrend from here. In both cases, the structure will still have one last impulse over here in order to complete itself, because we don't have any divergence in between the first impulse of the structure and the second impulse. So eventually we're going to end up with this 5-wave structure. After we have analyzed the full structure from the beginning of the cycle till this date, let's move to the weekly chart and try to make a small forecast to see how far will the price go in its 5th and last wave of this structure. If we plot a trend-based Fibonacci extension on the weekly chart, we will find that the price went all the way towards the 3.618 Fibonacci extension in its second impulse. And as we said earlier, this was around $216. Now the simplest way to try and forecast the 5th impulse price extension is to assume that the scenario which is going to happen next is similar to the scenario that we had in between the first and the second wave. In other words, if the price reaches the 3.618 extension in its last impulse, how much could it reach? And as it shows over here, we could be expecting the price to hit a price mark of 800 plus if the 5th and the last wave goes towards the 3.618 Fibonacci extension. But of course, this is all subject to the price repeating the same scenario in its 5th wave of the structure, similar to what it has done on the second wave. So for example, if the price decides to go all the way towards the 2.618 extension, then we are looking at a price point of around $630. And these are the most likely scenarios for Solana. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please subscribe, hit the like button and share it if you think these information are worth sharing. This was it for today, and until next video, stay safe and see you later.